Hey everyone, welcome to the next segment in the Tab 100. This is the second time I've recorded this in the last couple of hours because I accidentally, for some reason, when messing around with the camera, knocked the audio gain settings on the microphone down to its lowest setting, which meant it basically was like on minus 10 decibels.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
It meant that when I put the video footage into the thing later, I was so quiet that everybody would have had trouble hearing me, and if I tried to fix it in post-production, you would have had the most monumental hiss ever. So, yeah, I'm going to be quite tired. But like I say, oh well, I get to talk about these 20 games again. The things I do for you guys, okay? It's a lot of work. But anyway, you've already seen my 100 to 81, so let's get on with the rest of the list. This is my Tab 100 that I do on every anniversary of the Broken Meeple, and now we're going through my 80 to 61. Again. It just happens. I mean, perks of the trade. Anyway, my number 80 is from FFG by J. Niffen, and it is dropped 29 places from 51. It's still a solid negotiation game. New Angeles. New Angeles is like 3 hours long. It is a long, involved negotiation game. But my god, it's a bit of a brain burner, but thematically it's very rich. You are playing one of the corporations in the Netrunner universe, and each one of you has a particular focus on how you can improve the city, which is kind of falling apart on itself. One of you is a federalist-like traitor and actually wants the city to go down in flames, but you're kind of trying to keep that hidden for most of the game. Each of you, on the other hand, is trying to play agendas and objectives to say, look, I think we should improve security forces here. And then somebody comes in with a counter-argument saying, nah, we can wait on that. We got to fix the hospitals, and we got to do this. Each person wants to collect those cool bonuses you get for winning the arguments, though, but you're trying to get everybody on your side. You know, who's trying to get richer than who wants to backstab me later, who's going to influence this. You know, it's great negotiation, rich and theme, and rich and thematic, and it looks great on the table. I have not yet played Sidereal Confluence, which is the only longer negotiation game I'm aware of. I'm a little bit concerned about that being just trade cubes and more cubes. You know, is that going to be too dry for me? But I want to try it. I want to see what it's like, because I do like negotiation games, and this is definitely one of my high picks. 79 is from Ted Alspar Bezier Games. It's dropped 9 places. It's going to be pretty steady until the new collector's version comes out, which is Suburbia. Suburbia doesn't look great on the table, I'd admit, and it has a bit of a long setup. But it's a great economic city building game, and there aren't a lot of economic games that I like, but this one sort of sings to me with the whole managing your income and population while building this cool city full of tiles in front of you that can interact with like objectives as well as other players depending on what you've built. The expansion certainly helped, particularly the one that allows you to do borders and that. They're really cool. But it was dropping a little bit because it, like I say, it had a long setup time and didn't look the part. Collector's edition on Kickstarter though, cha-ching! It's like, shut up and take my money. And it's going to definitely, I think, elevate this one up the list a bit, because not only will it still be great to play, it will have another expansion, but it will also look great on the table with gameplays, and it should hopefully have a quicker setup time. Cannot wait for this collector's version to come out, but 79 is still hot. Suburbia. 78, just a little thing on this one. We have got 6 new games on this list, and we're about to talk about 2 of them. Empress 4 is a company that I really like their games. They're not necessarily all top 100 material, but they're still consistently good and, for the most part, very portable and simple games. This is definitely the newest one I've played, and that is Walking in BURANO. Everybody I've taught this to has liked it. Some have even gone out and bought their own copies. It's a really cool card game where you're drafting different elements of a building, the top, middle, and bottom floor, and you're trying to construct a street full of those lovely coloured houses you get in BURANO. I think it's a district off Venice in Italy, if I recall. But the idea is that you have to build them in a certain way, but as you complete a house, you can collect these little inhabitant cards that go underneath them, and they score you points based on what's either in the house or on the entire street. They're in limited supply though, so first come, first serve, and of course you're just trying to get all the various symbols on the cards to be in like the best place possible. It could be plants, cats, chimneys, lampposts, shop windows, pedestrians, you name it. It just all looks very pretty as your street comes together, and it's in a nice small package, and doesn't take long to teach either. It's just one of those nice, simple, 1 hour tops games that just kind of works. Nice and streamlined, not fiddly at all, and adds for a bit of replay value, and it's just nice and pleasant. It's really done well for me, Walking in BURANO. And then number 77 is another new one to the list. It's no surprise that I do like a lot of Ryan Laukait's games. This is the newest one of his line, I believe, I've played. It's a second edition version, but I've not played the first edition, and that is the Ancient World. The Ancient World is it's in that same vein of that stellar, gorgeous artwork that I really like, with the sort of thematic setting background. But here you have these titan monsters that are constantly like wailing down on cities, and you are trying to fight them back. So you're building up your own cityscape with districts and different buildings that give you points and powers, but you're also worker placement for your citizens to go and get military units that you pay to fend off the titans, whether it's on your own board or other people's, or even just ones out in the wilderness, and to help build your city, procreate, go explore, find different endgame scoring buildings, etc. And it's very cool little thematic setting, looks gorgeous on the table, is quite tight for the worker placement aspect, but not super tight, not like, oh, you went to that space, you blocked me completely. No, it's like, you can go there, you just might have to pay a little bit extra for it unless you've got a higher ranking citizen. But the Titans, the artwork is stellar, the military units where you pay them and it gets progressively more expensive, but then you retire the unit and it goes underneath the other one as experience bonuses for the new unit. Thematically, that just makes sense, but it's a cool sort of medium weight Euro. It's not too difficult to teach, not too difficult to play. It's definitely above a light game though, for sure. Good sort of path to victory, good variety in the buildings and that, maybe could use a few more in the future. But it's a case of, if you like Ryan Laukait's style of game, this is one that you're going to enjoy as well. 80, there's 77. 76, this was pretty high before. I think this was a top 10 game at one point, or at least top 20. It's come down a bit since last year, 28 places from 48, and it's not because I don't like it, that does not mean, oh my god, it's garbage. But it's just, I haven't played it for a while, and, two-player games are hard for me to get to the table. But there's no denying that out of, nope, it's just in shot. Onitama. Onitama are still a solid game for me. Two-player scratches my chest itch. You just have those 5 movement cards, 2 there, 2 for your opponent, 1 in the middle. Use the movement card, exchange it with the middle, and get your master onto their opponent's chair, or, master's chair that is, or get one of your students to capture the opponent's master. That is it. It is pretty much a game I can teach you in less than 5 minutes and you can be done in 15. It's just really good for that sort of, I need chess that's shorter but still burns the brain cells, and this one still will, because one wrong move and you could really set yourself up badly. But with 5 movement cards, there's a lot of those movement cards, especially with the expansions, there's a good amount of replay value in this. The design is just, it's just so simple, streamlined and perfect, and it just works. Great 2-player abstract game, Onitama. 75, down 21 places from 54. It's on a bit of a decline, mainly just because I think people aren't as aren't as willing to play some of those old nostalgic feeling party games. This is Time's Up Title Recall. Still love this one. The Title Recall is definitely the set to get, because it's a lot easier to deal with book titles and film titles, etc. than it is like People. But with this one, I think people are just kind of looking for more modern games to play. This one definitely feels like something you played like back in the 20th century, but it's still solid. You've got the 40-odd clue cards that are in the mix, and you've got 3 rounds, and it's that classic describe a clue to your team, but what you can say gets more restrictive as time goes on. But the same 40 clue cards come back in different rounds. So what you said in previous rounds becomes the nature of the clues that you use in the following rounds, even if they were rubbish clues to begin with. It's what sticks in your memory, what made everyone laugh, what did everyone remember, and it's just frantic, fun. It's easy to play. Anybody who's played those sort of party games will instantly get into it, and it works with a decent size range of players. I still really like this one. It's just difficult to get other people to like it as much as me. Number 74 from AEG and John DeClaire. That's gone down 18 places, but I think this will remain pretty steady in this area. And I've got its sequel in front of me, which I've played once. Pretty solid, Edge of Darkness. This is Mystic Vale. Mystic Vale, giant box with all the expansions in. This basically does what I want in more games. It innovates! Thank you! Finally, some innovation. It takes the classic deck building formula that we've known and creates card crafting. Your deck is never more than 20 cards in this. It always is 20 cards, but a lot of them are blank or have very basic abilities on them. The idea is that you collect mana in order to buy all these different advancements that you then sleeve into the card, and then it creates this like multi-layered card with lots of abilities. And you can create all sorts of different card combos with this, with the expansions. I've got so many of these advancements, it's ridiculous, and you won't see all of them in every game. But on top of that, you can have leaders with special powers, totems with like really cool like one-off abilities. There's some really nice stuff in this game, and it looks great, the artwork is stellar, but the concept of card crafting is just really fun. If you like that sort of, oh, I can create this and have my own personal card with loads of combos, it's brilliant. And Age of Darkness is over there. I have played one game of it. I so far really enjoy it, but I need to play it on its more difficult setups in order to really give it the beans. But so far on its basic beginner version, I got high hopes. Really liking it. But yeah, way too late coming in to match on this top 100. Maybe you'll see it next year. Who knows? So that's Mystic Vale 74. Moving on to 73, BURANO Katala and Days of Wonder. It's only dropped 9 places. This is pretty steady, but they don't normally do a lot of heavy thinky games, Days of Wonders, but so far they seem to be doing a pretty good job on it, and this is my YAMATAI. YAMATAI has got a lot going for it. I mean, it's a medium weight, streamlined, thinky Euro game. Yes, it's dry as a bone, but it's easy to teach, easy to play, but hard to do well at it. But my God, oh my God. It's so gorgeous. Is that not the most gorgeous thing you've ever seen? Oh my God. Everything in this just looks sublime. Everything, the artwork, it just pops on the table. It's definitely one I like. I'd bring it out just to look at it, frankly. I want that picture on my wall. So nice. But even when you get past the aesthetics, the meat of the game is still good fun. Putting down these ships, different colors in a certain way around these islands and an archipelago, to buy characters who will give you abilities and points, to put buildings down that will get you points. It's area control. You've got action tiles that dictate turn order as well as a bonus you can get. There's a decent amount to keep you engaged, but it's not overly complex. And Days of Wonder do a good job of just giving you something that makes you think, but doesn't take you an eternity to learn and play. And this is solid. Next up is 72. It's dropped 13 places, but that's not saying much. You gotta admit, BGG rankings don't make a lot of sense. And frankly, Gloomhaven and all this lot that's at the top, now this is the game that deserves to have a #1 spot, because can you think of a game more than Ticket to Ride that has influenced gaming as a whole? Yes, you've got Catan and Pandemic and all that lot, but Ticket to Ride, since 2004, that has been going strong. I've got a Calyx shelf full of the other expansions down there. There's like 1 or 2 I don't have. Other than that, I've got the whole Ticket to Ride set. I've played it with the parents, I've played it with new gamers, I've played it with gamers, I've played it with all sorts of people, all the different maps. It is like the essential game to have in your collection. And that's the sort of thing I want to see at #1 on BGG, because it is just like an evergreen. Not this like £150 monstrosity that only a select few people are going to play and never see all the content. I want it to be these ones that have really influenced the hobby. And Ticket to Ride is still good fun. I can play the basic America set and I'll be fine, but I really love playing the UK set and the France set and the Old West and Pennsylvania, all those different sets, and even those little new 15-minute ones are still good fun and very portable. It's just a solid gateway game. You cannot deny that. It just works. It just works. 71, let's end the 70s with a racing game from Lotte Pellet, and that, what's it come down? No, it's actually gained 4 places, so it's remaining pretty steady, and that is Flamme Rouge. I'm not even sure if Flamme Rouge is on my shelf around here. I'm kind of curious where that is run off. I know it's around here somewhere, but never mind. I'm not going to spend the entire thing trying to find all my games. It's a problem when you got a couple hundred games. It's trying to find where they are. But Flamme Rouge is a great cycling game. It's just very simple. 2 decks of cards, 1 for each cyclist. You've got to keep and maintain a steady pace throughout the race, trying to get in everyone's slipstream so that you can borrow some of their movement, and not to be too far out in front because you'll get exhausted. But the cards, once you've used them, that's it. So your deck runs out and starts getting exhaustion cards, and at some point you got to think, when's the best time to break off? When's the best time to try and gun it for the exit? Have I got too much exhaustion? No. Am I just going to go like, and break away and...
Okay, I'm going
well, because...
I've got Ebola.
And then just like sort of fall on the side of the road like joking. It's simple, but timing is everything. The rules are streamlined, the expansions have added in more players and more different variations on the tracks. You can create your own track or use a specific one on the card. It's a solid but simple racing game, and it's definitely one that I enjoy. Now let's go into the 70s. Again, the second time already. But we have a new game. We've got 4 new games on this set of 10. And the first up is my go-to pick up and deliver game. Pick up and deliver is not exactly the most fun mechanic, shall we be honest? I mean, go to spot, take this, go to that spot, deposit, go to this spot, pick up, take to that spot, deposit. It's, as the mechanic goes, there's only so much you can do with that. And I have played several. I mean, I've played Wasteland Delivery Express, decent, but a bit too long and convoluted, and, you know, I don't know, well, the thing is, I've played some pick up and deliver games lately, but it all comes down to the fact that I think this one's the best of the lot. Star Wars Outer Rim. Star Wars Outer Rim just beats out all the other pick up and deliver games, and this is what Firefly should have been.
You're going to burn in a very special level of hell.
Firefly is a brilliant series, but the game, way too long, way too like bulked out like crazy. It just never ends, and it is full of dice luck. Here, you got a reasonable amount of luck, but the Star Wars theme, I think, works really well with it. You're doing bounty hunting and smuggling. You've got a little bit more interaction with players at times, although not tons of it. It's more if they've got bounties that you're after. But the rule set is more streamlined. It can be played in less than 2.5 hours pretty easily, whereas Firefly goes on ridiculous lengths of time. And with this one, it's a lot easier to get the stuff you really want, because you can go and find those contacts, you can go find those characters you really like, whereas in Firefly, you're kind of just drawing off a random deck and hoping, whereas here, you can see what's on the various marketplaces, so you can dig a bit deeper, but if you see that laser cannon you want, you can go out and get that laser cannon, hopefully before someone else buys it. But it's a great pick up and deliver game, dodging patrols, going around space, doing what you do in Star Wars. Everybody's coming up with references, everybody's making jokes, everyone's getting immersed in the theme, which is pretty strong. And yeah, there's an element of luck, but then I think that's the case in most pick up and deliver games. Like I say, not my favorite mechanic in the world, but I've really been enjoying Outer Rim. You know, this is definitely like, oh, we're going to do this sort of mechanic, right? Can we play Outer Rim, please? Because different characters, different player powers, different routes to take. You know, do I want to be the bounty hunter going after all of them? Do I want to do nothing but jobs? Do I want to go hunt down everybody else's contacts every now and again? Do I want to kit myself up with a ton of guns on my ship and go hunt patrols? I've got different choices, and you know it's going to get expanded up the wazoo. Star Wars Outer Rim at 70, new to the list. 69 has actually climbed 9 places. I've played it a couple of times this year, and it's like, yep, this is a solid game. It is still my third favourite of Lacerda games, although that's not exactly a negative, but definitely it's got to give credit to the 2016 version of VINHOS. So this is VINHOS Deluxe 2016 specifically. 2010 is okay, but it's a bit too convoluted for my liking. I mean, I want to make wine and put it at the fair and have a competition and do all this cool stuff with vineyards. I do not want to balance my checkbook and deal with the bank. Seriously, I'm making wine, screw the bank, okay? You still need money in the 2016 version, but it's not like I must go to the bank and get a loan and then do this. It's like, for crying out loud, this is not an economic game. You know, this is a wine game, and the 2016 version has streamlined, smooth rules, but it is still a heavy game, still takes a while to play, but brings out that theme of owning a wine business as opposed to just a wine vineyard really well. You know, you get your multiple vineyards, you can choose different areas that you get your vineyard from, and each one gives you a slight bonus or a slight advantage. You know, some are cheaper than others. You then make up your wine, and it's different levels of quality. And do you sell them cheap to local bars? Do you sell it overseas for victory points? Or do you take one of them to the fair, which you have to do, and you put it in the fair against other people's choice wine, and you know the results of that can give you more bonuses or some endgame scoring tiles, objectives to go for. There's a lot of different ways to play, different paths to victory. It's a solid but thematic Lacerda game. And yes, there are 2 others I still prefer, and it's not difficult to kind of tell which ones they might be because he's only done so many. And I make no apologies for the rant I did last week. But yeah, it's a solid game. Really enjoy this one, the 2016 VINHOS. Number 68 is brand new to the list, and sorry Sagrada, but you're a decent game, but frankly there is no reason to take any of the harder startup setups, And once you realise that, the game pretty much plays out the same every time. This one though, role player. Kicks out Sagrada, hello role player. Role player has you doing that cool dice shenanigans with like drafting the dice and putting them in various spots on your thing, but it's a character sheet. You're building a D&D character, and thematically that's already really cool. But with this, you've got so much replay value. You can grab items, you can give traits, you can go hunt down monsters with the expansion. I kickstarted Friends and Familiar, so I know that's going to come out and up this game probably higher soon. But it's not a difficult game, but it just, with some of us who have played RPG games in the past, and I used to play D&D and roleplay it a lot, but the references, the in-jokes, it just comes out all the time in spades with this game. But you've got different ways that you can play. I mean, I've built like stupidly overpowered stat characters. I've had one character who won the game and had like 4 in con and strength because I bought all the trait cards that basically said if you've got less than 8 in those stats, you get loads of points. It's like, yeah, I am the weakest, most incontinent cleric ever, but hey, I'm here and I'm doing my job. So it just works. It's a great. It brings out the theme, even though at the end of the day you're just mucking around with dice. But then, what are you doing when you make a D&D character? You're just mucking around with dice. It's a similar thing. It's quite ingenious how the two kind of tie up, but simple to play. Great amount of replay value, probably too much replay value with some of the stuff you've got in here, but I really enjoy this one, role player. Next one, 67, has climbed 10 places. I'm kind of curious why it has climbed. I think the Whims of the Sultan expansion probably did that, and yes, we're back to Days of Wonder. Bruna Kafala, right next door, 5 tribes. I prefer 5 tribes to Yamatai, but not by much. Where was Yamatai? 73, and we're on now 67, whoopee-doo, 6 places. But it's a solid Days of Wonder title. Thinky, lots of replay value. The Sultan's expansion adding more ways to score points so you can sort of do tactical decisions even more throughout the game. But the cool thing of having all these different colour meeples and going, well, if I do that move, I can trigger the reds, that'll kill that. But then the whites get me those genies, and that genie's pretty sweet. But then I need to collect those sets of the merchants. Well, the greens over there, I could collect 3 cards with that. And it's just so many choices. But as you go through the game, the choices get more limited. And your choices get more limited. And you're sort of grasping for points. But at the start, the world's your oyster. Now, granted, I only want to play this with people who are no way in like any mention of analysis paralysis. If you are the sort of person that wants to min-max your games or can't think like quickly on your turns, sorry, you're banned from playing this game because I do not want to sit there for ages waiting for you to decide on the move. But you get the right group with this game, it's fantastic. Days of Wonder doing what they do best with thinky games. Engaging, not too complicated, looks the business on the table. What more do you want? 5 tribes done now. 66, another new entry. Letters from Whitechapel is a bit of a dull theme, takes too long. Fury of Dracula, great theme, again, convoluted, takes too long. I've still got it on my shelf. I need to get rid of that at some point. But my choice, Spectre Apps. Spectre Apps is my go-to hidden movement game for Escape from the Aliens Outer Space is good as well, but that didn't make my top 100. But the Spectre Apps is a great, like sci-fi, almost like Metal Gear Solid style setting with one agent and a bunch of hunters, all with different abilities and tech that they can have. And it's that classic hidden movement thing of, guy writes down where he's going to be and the guys go, right, we'll move, you move, we move. Right, let's activate the sonar. Where is it? Are you in this quadrant? Yes, he is. Right, everybody closing round and you're sneaking around boxes and gels and like trying to think, where are you? You're somewhere here. And it's like, I got him, guys, bang! And it's like you're trying to stay hidden. They're trying to find you. It is one of the most tense games you can play. Constantly you're like, sneak in there. Yes, they'll never see me. And then everybody's discussing. And it's like, I think he went over there. And it's like, nope, I went over there. Yes, my plan has worked. And then some smart Alex sort of goes, hang on, what if he's right there? And it's like, nope. Uh-oh. It creates some of those great moments. Your heart is pounding like crazy. I so much more prefer to be the agent than the hunters. Because the hunters is good, trying to find out where someone is. But I love that hidden vein of like, oh, come on, I'm going to sneak through. I love being that player. But Spectre Apps, my go-to pick for hidden movement. 65. Well, this is an interesting one. Dropped 30 places since last year. It dropped probably 20 places since the year before. It's not on the way out, it's just harder to get this one to the table because FFG have done their usual thing to bloat this like crazy, which is what they tend to do. Eldritch Horror. Still love the game. Play it with 1, 2 or 3 players, fine. 4 if you convince me and we've all played the game before. Any more than that is suicide. And I have seen people try to teach it to brand new people with 5 or more players, you idiots.
Stupid!
But it's such a cool Cthulhu game. It's Indiana Jones meets Cthulhu, where you go around the world, solving the mysteries, closing the portals, killing the monsters, getting cool stuff like you do before. But it's, dripping in theme again. The stories are more cohesive, where they're more based on the ancient one you're fighting. But the reason it's dropped a may bit is because, well, it's a bit bloated. It's all packed in a big wooden vault up there, and as much as it's great for storage, again, I've got to get it all out, I've got to get all the pieces, got to work out which ancient one I'm doing, get the right cards. Brilliant when it's played. Brilliant when you get past that long setup time. But that long setup time, when you're someone like me who has limited time in their life, it's a problem. But when I do play it, do love the game. So I can see Eldritch Horror kind of like sitting in the middle, maybe the lower half of the top 100 as time goes on. I don't think it will ever fall off unless a direct replacement for the game comes out. But Arkham Horror 3rd Edition, probably not going to replace Eldritch Horror for me, but I like both games. But certainly, it's not getting played as often, mainly because of certain other Cthulhu-based games. We'll wait on those ones, okay? But yeah, Eldritch Horror, still solid, just getting a little bit big for its britches. Number 64, the classic deck builder game, and oh my god, it's fallen the whole place. What? That means it's garbage now. Oh well, best not talk about it. Now, one place, who cares? This is the deck builder that got everybody into deck building. I still like it. I've got 6 expansions in it. I've cherry-picked my favorites. Will I get any more? Probably not. It's in the box behind me. It's Dominion. I still really like this game. Yes, there are cool, deck builders out there, and we're going to talk about some better ones in the future. But, it's just smooth, it's quick, and as long as I'm not playing with completely new players or people who just can't think on their turns quick enough. I mean, I have played with people who literally struggle to tell the difference between a draw deck and a discard pile. Seriously? What job do you do? But, I know it's kind of mean to say that, but like I say, there are certain things that you just get used to and you just think, how can you not tell the difference between a draw deck and a discard pile? I don't know. But with Dominion, you can cherry pick your expansions, throw in all sorts of replay value, but when you get the right people and the right speed, and it's just like, done, done, and it gets back to you, your downtime is limited, but you get all the variety of like, ooh, what am I going to do with this combination of 10 cards? Okay, this will be pretty cool. You play it, and then you go again with a different set of 10 cards, and it feels like a whole different game. Played this in a friendly tournament the other week, actually. It was a multi-game tournament, and I won the whole tournament. Yay. But one of the games we had to play was Dominion. I didn't win it. I came second, I think, in that one. And, everybody had a very different strategy, and this was still with, like, the basic cards. I mean, I had something like a 7-card deck, I think. I trimmed it so finely. And I was close to winning, but then it turned out that the person who basically was getting curses all over the shop and that, we let him get a bit too far with the gardens, and this deck of like 1,000,000 cards just got him a ton of points, And like I say, we didn't expect it, but it was a fun game. And that is the thing. Dominion creates moments like that. And Seaside, Prosperity, Guilds, not Adventures, Renaissance, Hinterlands, that seems to be an underrated one. I love this deck builder. It's a great one. Okay, 63. We got 3 more to talk about. 63 is Eric Lang and FFG. Hang on a minute. What's Eric Lang done for FFG, you might say? That one. XCOM. It's come down a bit since its early days when it used to be really a lot higher in the top 100, but I still really enjoy this game. It's a timed co-op, brings out that flavor of the XCOM game really well, just not with the whole mini-map going around and shooting stuff, which I know some people were a bit irked about. But, that whole strategic aspect of where do I send my interceptors? Do I have enough satellites? The UFOs are coming. Who are we sending on this mission? What crisis cards are we going to avoid? Do we even have enough money to defend our own base? It's each player having their own role. Really cool. It's come down a bit though, mainly because playing it solo is quite a stressful experience. And there are some people that know how to play this game, but teaching it to new players is a bit of a tricky subject. Because if you don't understand what your role is doing, it's a bit hard to kind of teach you like the game you're supposed to be playing, and you may not understand just how you need to help other players. But you get the right group and it is still a blast to play. You know, you've got all the flavor, all those images, the artwork is great, the component quality is great, and it just brings out that feeling of the computer game, which I've played and enjoyed, you know, just without the minimap thing. But it's all still good. Next, 62. This is the last new game we're going to talk about on this segment. It's, I don't really want to spoil too much. No, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but this is from Mind Clash. Mind Clash do some great heavy Euro games, and this one is new to the list because it was just a little bit shy last year of the time limit of when I capped when I was going to put games on my top 100. But I've enjoyed this one. I have two friends who also really enjoy this one and Mind Clash games in general, so you can bet that we'll play this more often, and especially with the collector's version that I kickstarted, which is coming out soon, next 2 months, yay. You know, more presents. You know, this is possibly going to rise up higher, who knows, and that is Tricarion, Legends of Illusion, as if anyone cares about the tagline. This is like Prestige, the board game. If you have not seen The Prestige, the Christian Bale and Hugh Jackman magician movie, seriously, go out and see it. It's an underrated movie classic. But this one is basically like that. You are magicians, you're rival magicians, you're making up your tricks, you're trying to get more famous than each other, and you'll send your apprentices out to collect stuff for you, the materials. You'll set up the theatre to perform your tricks in various ways or at various times. It's straight up, you know, getting victory points, and some areas are abstracted a bit, but there's a lot of cool stuff in this, and the worker placement aspect is tight. Really tight. I mean, you need to pay them salaries, but also there's only so many spaces, and the spaces are different power levels depending on how soon you go there. So it's like, I really need to go do that bit of the theatre, but if I don't send the guy over to the main market, then he's going to take it, which means I'm going to not have enough power to do this. The decisions are agonizing. But it looks great on the table, the theme comes out really well despite some of the abstraction with how the tricks work with these little tiles and little bonuses, but it's just a great heavy Euro, and it is heavy. Anybody who says otherwise is clearly on a different planet. But Mind Clash just have this thing of doing great theme with a heavy Euro. And I do like heavy Euros, people. I'm not just about simple gateway games. Yes, granted, I like them, I like to teach them, but heavy Euros with theme, I do enjoy. It's the heavy Euros that go on far too long and don't have the decent theme that are less likely to win me over. And of course, it depends how punishing they are as well. Tricarion doesn't feel like you're being punished on a regular basis. Granted, it's difficult, but you don't feel like you're getting smacked down repeatedly. You feel like you can pull it back if you just play the long game. So, Tricarion, cannot wait for that collector's edition with the new expansion. Man, number 62. And, oop, me screen decided to lock. Come on, come back. Here we go. And finally, 61. Again, the second time over. But this one from Van Ryder Games is a brilliant solo game. I love this one a bit. It's, for a dice game, it's really thematic, you know, in how it plays. Yes, you can play the app, but I still like the board game version, and I have kickstarted the expansion to Hostage Negotiator. This is still a fun dice game. Yes, there's luck. It's dice. What do you expect, people? But the theme is really strong. You are a hostage negotiator playing cards in order to have a conversation with the person who has abducted hostages. You roll the dice to see how well you succeed on each card, and with the conversation points that you generate, you can buy better cards. You know, you start off with very basic stuff like, you know, how are you? Let's talk about this, to cards which are like, sniper, take the shot. You know, it can create some really tense moments, and you might be able to talk the guy out of it. But you may have to buy that big card that says, you know what, we gotta take a chance. Sniper, take the shot and kill him. And the theme just comes out really nicely, particularly with the abductors themselves. You've got people who want to see the world burn. You've got a CEO, a cultist, a guy who just wants to get medical bills for his daughter, ones that you can almost sympathize with in a sense. But a lot of variety, a box to hold it all, and the career expansion I kickstarted is going to have a campaign, sort of not legacy, but like a experience gaining campaign. That sounds pretty good because the game is short enough that a campaign won't take you too long. Cannot wait. But I really like this dice game. The app is cool as well, but I like having the cards and the dice like tactile in this one. Solid Hostage Negotiator. Definitely one for the solo game fans. There we go. Whew. I think we'll hold off doing the next 20 today because, after doing this list twice, thank you. But, oh well, that's my own fault. I really need to get into the habit of double checking the camera settings like in triplicate before I start. This is the problem when you don't have a second person actually behind the camera to handle this stuff for you. But like I say, not trying to be a perfectionist, but if I tried to release that first go with the low volume and all that hissing, you guys wouldn't have liked me for it. So just remember what I do for you, right? So the next set of 20 will go from 60 to 41. There are only 3 new games on the next set of 20. The rest of them, they've come up, they've come down. They are, staple games. But there's still a lot of new games to come. I mean, there's still another 4, 8, 10. Still another 10 new games on the rise after the next set of 20. So you're going to see some good new things here. But to be honest, regardless, all these games I love, I enjoy. They're fantastic games, in my opinion, that is. So thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please hit the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I like reading what you guys have to say about a game you love, a game you hate, whatever. All feedback that's constructive is well appreciated as well. So take care. I'll see you on the next segment of Top 10, and, well, Top 100, I guess, in this case. And remember, whether you like my games or not, it's all just opinion. We all like different things, and it's still only a game. Take care, and see you soon.